Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to do the next installment of the BL Manga Roundup, my kind of fast-paced reviews of the Media Do digital titles that I got. So I have 6 single self-contained volumes to share, the first one being Sachi Murakami's This Boy is a Bottom. Really enjoyed all of the Sachi Murakami works that I've read. I do actually own one physically that I believe is a June A title from back in the day. And so when I saw quite a few Sachi Murakami titles in this bundle, I was super stoked. And this one was also great. It is about Henri, the darker-haired guy who hates gays, and his best friend Toru, who is very much openly gay. They've been friends since high school, and now they're in their late 20s, and they're just kind of, they basically live together because I believe it's Henri's apartment that Toru just goes and stays at quite often overnight because he works closer to Henri's apartment than his own, so it's easier for him when he gets home from work to just go and crash at Henri's place. And so it's basically about, us learning that Henri hates gays because he is gay. Shocker. So they're both bottoms, and the whole kind of issue of compatibility with each other, they're very attracted to each other, and they're trying to be more versatile because they want to be with each other, and if they're both bottoms, they want to try and please each other, and it is what it is. It's decently entertaining. I enjoyed it. And the best part about this is, if you watched my other roundup videos with the other Sachi Murakami titles, it's a return of Etsu and Ryo, this couple that appears in, I guess, quite a few volumes of Sachi Murakami's stories. So we get some more. All of these Etsu and Ryo stories are very short, and they are basically just about a different sexual escapade between this couple that gets along quite well, and they're both adults, and it's wonderful. And every title or every story that I've read of these two is just pleasant. And so this story in particular is just about Ryo, I believe is this one. He's kind of upset that no one sees him as gay, and that when he's out with his partner, Etsu, people just think they're friends or they're roommates or whatever, and he's just kind of getting frustrated and upset that, he can't just be openly affectionate with his partner, who he loves very much. And yeah, and it's a very kind of real thing that gay people deal with in societies that are less accepting, is not being able to hold hands in public, or just having to pretend to be less than they are when they're clearly very much in love with each other. So that was a good, wholesome story. And then the other story about the two of them is literally just, it's really hot weather, and they're both getting horny because it's really warm out. And so that's that with the two of them. The second title up is Sweet Intruder by Kurara Bon. This is a shorter, I think it was like 40 pages or something, and it's about Kazushi, dark-haired boy, who is kind of a shut-in now. He's too scared to go to school because everyone knows he's gay and they're making fun of him for it. And his friend Unohara comes to get him every morning for school, and he doesn't want to leave. And then it's got kind of like an astral projection situation where he can project his body, and it's really weird, but also kind of cute. I enjoyed it. It was decent. It was really short and didn't have, much of a, it didn't have much of a plot, obviously, but the art was pretty interesting looking. And it definitely deals with in the very short amount of pages it has, it deals with an issue of, being bullied for being who you are and trying to navigate being a young person who's different, and, having somebody in your life who appreciates you and loves you, but you sometimes that isn't enough And sometimes it is enough that, you have one person in your corner kind of thing. But it was cute. The next title up is You, My Dearest, Crying in My Apartment by Tomo Ohtake. So this one is about Ikami, who is an up-and-coming actor, and Ishikawa is a very shy kind of stagehand. So he meets this kind of boisterous young guy who's acting in, I believe it's a play at first, but then he starts doing commercials and stuff too. And he immediately kind of takes to the stagehand, Ishikawa, and starts like coming over to his house all the time. And he's like, what is this weird guy? Like, what's up with him? And of course, feelings start happening. I thought it was pretty cute, honestly. And this was a full story. Like, there wasn't any short stories in this one. The art was decent. It wasn't really anything to write home about, but I do enjoy, workplace stuff. And obviously this is a workplace, even though it's not a conventional workplace for most people to relate to. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting story that was entertaining for what it was. And I actually I really liked Ishikawa. He was kind of a reclusive dude. Though honestly, this story really didn't flesh out these characters very much. Like Ikami, I still don't know much about him after reading like 180 pages about this couple. I still don't know much about him, which is a little weird. But yeah, it was decent. It wasn't amazing, and it certainly wasn't bad. The next title is also a Sachi Murakami title. This is the 10 o'clock rule. I enjoyed this one immensely. So this one is about, they're adults now, but they've known each other since they were young kids. Now, I'm a little confused about the profession. Like, so he's an archery coach, and they both used to do archery as children. This guy, I don't know if he's just an office worker now or what's going on, but anyway, not really super relevant. So Wataru, I believe, is the archery coach, and Ryusei is the guy in the suit. And Ryusei loves Wataru now as an adult, but Wataru does not love Ryusei anymore because he used to have a crush on him when they were children, but now he feels like he's too different. I feel like I have this backwards. I definitely have this backwards. He is in love with him and has been forever. He is in love with who he used to be, but no longer loves him because he thinks he's no longer cute like he used to be. That makes sense. Yes. So the 10 o'clock thing is that he would always call him at 10 o'clock at night to make sure he got home safe. And so he picks him up from work every day. And some days he refuses to have a ride with him, but most of the time he will let him drive him home. But he still calls at 10 o'clock every night to make sure he got home safe and that he's okay. It's very cute. And it's kind of an interesting discussion about, knowing someone your whole life. Feelings change with people, and it can be tough. Like you may like somebody at a certain point in your life, but then you kind of grow out of it. And how do you deal with somebody who still has a crush on you and you don't really like them back, or you think you don't like them back? Because feelings kind of ebb and flow, and it's interesting how different stages of your life and different stages of someone else's life, people change as they age. And it kind of has that discussion of, you may still like me, but maybe I don't like you as much as I used to. We're both different people now, kind of thing. Anyway, this one also has Etsu and Ryo stories like the other one did, and this one actually has one where they're younger. And I found out that this particular series this is not their first appearance, but this particular series is the first appearance of these characters. So I guess there's other short story collections that fit in this universe here. So anyway, there's various stories in this particular volume that follow Etsu and Ryu as well. I think that other one is the only one when they're teenagers, but these ones here are back to when they're adults. And they're all wonderful. I think that this couple is excellent. I love their, the sexual explorations they kind of go through together as a couple, especially because that's what happens when you're together for such a long time. You experiment with different things and you try to keep things fresh, and I love that they clearly very much love each other. And these ones dealt with a little bit of like jealousy and a little bit of just kind of a little bit more drama filled. Some of the ones in the other volumes were very much just, the plot was literally just a setup for whatever sexual act they end up engaging in together. But these ones were a little bit more plot involved, not to say that sex didn't happen, but that, there was a bit more drama happening with other people in the story, which isn't a bad thing. I really enjoy this couple, and I would love to read more about them. So, yeah. The next title is Where Night's Blackbird in His Sad Infamy Sings by Unohara. This was great. This is a single story for the whole volume, and it is about Ugoda is a grad student, and he's the mysterious neighbor of Aizawa, he's a bit younger. He's in college too, but he's, I think maybe in his like second or third year. And they live in these really beautiful older style houses, and Ugoda is outside practicing with a wooden sword, and he just that's all that Aizawa sees him doing. And the garden is overgrown and the house is kind of in tatters, and Aizawa's like, I could help with that stuff, and Ugoda's like, please leave me alone. So it's the classic kind of grumpy dude and very over hyper dude, but instead of high schoolers, they're adults, and it's actually really sweet and cute, and the art is lovely. This was very entertaining, and of course there's a bit of backstory drama stuff that you get to see happen. But yeah, like the art I think was really charming, and the characters both are very charming, which I really enjoyed. And I think that it was just a well-rounded story about these two adults just kind of trying to find their place. And yeah, I think that for the most part, it was the art that immediately drew me in, and the just lovely personalities. I love the overly hyper dude and the super serious dude, and this is him, both of them kind of taken down I think it was a thief or something, I don't remember. But yeah, it's just their personalities together, like they clash, but they're so funny. Oh, this is that face doesn't tell you everything. Oh, he just like follows him around, and he refuses. Ugoda doesn't talk very much, and Aizawa talks a lot, and it's just so funny. I was laughing consistently. He didn't want to go to the festival, and Aizawa drags him to it, and that's the face, and it just brings me so much joy. Oh, this was a great one. It might have been my favorite of the bunch, actually. Yeah, this one was fantastic. I highly recommend this one if you like that sort of quiet, grumpy, and overly hyper, naive sort of behavior. I think you'd really, really enjoy this one. And the sixth and final title is This Love Ain't So Bad, and this is by Luca Yoshino. This one has various short stories, 3 of which are about the exact same couple, and it's actually this couple on the cover here. They live together they're a bit different. The longer haired guy is a freelance, I don't know if he's like a journalist or writer or whatever. But this first story is about like him and his boyfriend, who is an office worker of some kind. He works long hours, and clearly they've gotten into a pattern of the freelance guy kind of doing all the housework and cooking and stuff, and the other guy seems less appreciative of it because he's just so tired from work. And so this story in particular is they've kind of broken up, and they both sort of are dealing with being alone and not being with the person that they really should be with, and realizing, oh wait, I had it really, really good with that person, and we just kind of fell out of the good habits that we were engaging in. This is the second story, which is decently similar, of just them trying to manage their time better and appreciate each other and show that they still love each other, even if they're working adults who are very, very busy. And so this story, or this volume, all except for one story, all of these are about like office worker and adult couples. There's one that has a minor in it, but this next one is about these two gay coworkers who start sleeping together, because this guy was kind of hugging the boss's blazer, I guess, and he saw him doing that, and he's like, well, if you're also gay, I'll keep your secret about your crush on the boss if you sleep with me. And they start sleeping together, and yeah, it's you can imagine what happens from there. But anyway, this title actually had some real, like, it's still censored, but honestly, like, these were pretty good stories. And so this one is this is about this 30-year-old virgin dude. Again, they're like office workers, but it doesn't go into where they work or what their profession is or anything. This guy's a bit younger, and he is clearly in love with him, but he's got some trauma from an ex who, you know, said that he's incapable of loving anybody, and so he's carried that with him, and it's a bit far-fetched, but anyway. There's actually quite a lot of stories in this one. And then this one is another ex kind of trauma story of this. Which one has nightmares? I think he has nightmares. About his ex kind of leaving him and what happened with his ex and everything. So he's in this relationship, and now he's finding it difficult to connect with him and be present, because he's so scared that what happened with his ex is going to happen with his new boyfriend that he really cares about. So yeah, all of these stories are very, very short, and so it makes it a little bit difficult to kind of flesh anything out. But honestly, it's all a means to an end. They're all just trying to hook up with each other. So that's, I guess, what yaoi is. So this one I actually quite enjoyed. This one has a police officer in it, and this is about this guy he's being stalked by somebody, and he meets this police officer who he kind of trusts, and then of course they end up together, and it's great. I just thought the police officer was really cute. And then the final story, this was about this guy who is apparently 20 years old, and he's the tutor of this guy who I think he's studying for college entrance exams, so maybe he's 18, let's assume that. And he kind of feels bad that he's distracting him from his studying. So yeah, this is the only one that doesn't involve like very specifically adults. I'm assuming he's probably 18, but maybe he's 17. I don't know. But yeah, it's the stories in this one were decent. Honestly, the art was quite nice for what it was, and you know, it wasn't my favorite thing, but for a short story yaoi collection, this wasn't horrible, and honestly didn't have too much horrible tropes in it, so I guess that's a win. So the next titles, I think, are either just first volumes, or I might be getting into some of the series. I'm not sure yet what the next roundup video will look like, but I think this was the last of the single self-contained volumes. So thanks for watching.